Hi, my name is Cassidy Anderson, and I want to talk to you today about something that is going to impact us all for generations to come. There is going to be a question on your ballots on November 5th, and it's going to be a question that could change the entire fabric of the identity of who we are as Missourians and who we are as people. Amendment 3 is going to ask you a question that will look and appear to be a question about women's health care. And we all are on board for quality women's health care. That's not a question. But what is hidden in the loopholes of the full text of the ballot language, which you won't be able to see because when you go into the ballot box, you're only going to see a summary. There are hidden loopholes that have implications that will be devastating to more than just women, more than just Missourians. And also, the decision that Missouri makes is going to set the tone for what the abortion lobby thinks is possible for all 50 states. So let me tell you a little bit about it. But first, I want to come to you and tell you how I'm involved so that you know that you can trust me when I tell you what I'm about to tell you. I work for an organization called the Vitae Foundation. For 30 plus years, Vitae has been involved in research studies that are aimed at getting down to the heart and emotions behind abortion decision making so that we can reach women where they're at in crisis pregnancy and show them that there is an option that is life and their lives won't be destroyed in the process. In fact, abortion is a message that is so far from hope and a future, but that's not what they want you to think. They want you to think that abortion is the only pathway to having a full life, a life of opportunity and possibility. But what we know from the Vitae Foundation research is that women carry the scar of abortion for their whole lives. Even if they're not able to verbalize or articulate that, we know that when they are given an opportunity to open up about what they went through, they're traumatized for decades. I also am running a political action committee called the Vote No on 3 campaign. I am spending 7 days a week, every waking moment, with the entire intention of making sure that every Missourian knows exactly what they're voting for in November. So let me tell you a little bit about what is hidden in the full text of the ballot language on Amendment 3. First, it's going to allow for abortions through all 9 months of pregnancy. But you may be asking, well, I've been seeing messages that say it's only to fetal viability. And that's what it says in the first half of the ballot language. But then if you read on, you find out that there are exceptions, and those exceptions and the threshold for accessing abortions past fetal viability are very low. There's a line that talks about the mental health of the mother. And what does mental health mean? There could be a wide variety of conditions such as anxiety and depression that could be used as reasons to obtain full-term, late-term abortions. And the only people that have to verify that a woman has such a condition is the abortion clinic that profits off of a woman's choice to have an abortion. And so it's not just the late-term abortions that's hidden in this. You also read on to find out that this is full and unfettered access to all sorts of other reproductive health care needs, or maybe needs is not even the right term for it. All sorts of reproductive health care issues, such as sex change surgeries for minor children without parental consent. Yes, Missouri will become a safe haven for sex change surgeries for minors, and your parental rights to have a say in that, to counsel your children through that, to show them right from wrong, will be stripped from you. In a state where you now have to be 21 to buy a cigarette, in a country where you can't rent a car till you're 25, you can't get a tattoo till you're 18. Children alone can make a choice to have life-altering sex change surgeries based on how they feel in that phase of life. And you're not going to be able to just look at the ballot language at your polling place in November and be able to tell that, because it's been written in such confusing and deceptive legalese that people who are pro-life are going to be deceived into thinking that this is a moderate amendment. It is anything but. I have a personal stake in this. I have made it my life's mission to try and to make abortion unthinkable in our world. I'm only a small piece of this, but I have a team of people around me that also share that goal. And the reason is because I look around me at all of this hopelessness, women being told that they are incapable of overcoming trauma and tragedy. And I myself am the product of such a trauma and such a tragedy. And my birth mother can look at my face and look at my life and see beauty from ashes. She was 13 years old when she was sexually assaulted, raped by an older boy in the back of a van. And she became pregnant in small town Missouri, where a middle schooler in the 90s pregnant was pretty frowned upon. She faced months, if not years, of ridicule ahead of her. She faced trauma and huge decisions as a child. And the abortion lobby would tell her that the only right choice to make in that scenario is to have an abortion and to end the life of the child inside of her. To me, that's compounding trauma. You take one tragic situation that is not to be taken lightly. That was a horrible thing that happened to her. And then you compound it with more tragedy and more death. But she didn't choose that. She was offered an abortion by multiple people. She had people in her school and people in her life that would have helped her obtain an abortion, even in the 90s, even at 13. In fact, the mother of my birth father was one of the biggest voices in her ear asking her to have an abortion. And that is something I only found out recently. And she decided, no, I'm not interested. And then she chose something so brave, adoption. She went through the process of working with her youth pastor, funny enough, to find a family who needed hope in their situation, which was hard in and of itself. Their situation was that of they couldn't conceive. And they had gone through adoption before. My parents, Chris and Ann Bowen, they had already adopted my older brother. And so they knew that now they needed a girl in their life. And so they were connected through my birth mother's youth pastor. And then you have me. And the abortion lobby also wants to tell her that by choosing even adoption, that she's setting herself up for failure, that she's never going to be able to go to college or be successful in life, that that's always going to haunt her because she didn't get rid of the baby. That baby's still there. It's going to be a constant reminder of her trauma. But that's not how she sees me. She went on to become a Navy veteran, a wife, and a mother of 6 kids. And I had the opportunity to meet her when I became an adult and start a relationship with her and start a relationship with her children. They ended up bridesmaids and ring bearers in my wedding. And it was just a full circle moment that ended up being a beauty from ashes situation. And my life was not ruined either. My least favorite narrative going around right now about adoption is that you're setting your child up for a lifetime of heartbreak and sadness and abuse. They don't want access to hopeful stories for kids and for women. They want to convince them that adoption is something that's wrong or evil, but that's not true. That's not true at all. I grew up in a loving home with opportunities, with 2 parents who gave me so many opportunities to thrive. I grew up, I went to college. I was a radio host for 8 years. I got to become involved in politics and I have a career I love. I have a husband that treats me like a princess, and I have a daughter myself. Her name is Finley Grace. And all of that was possible because one woman, as a child, chose life. I am that exception case. I am the person that they don't want to exist. I am the case that they're justifying late-term abortion. They don't speak for me. They don't speak for my story. They don't get to use my story of hope and a future to justify a culture of death. I won't allow it. So join me this November 5th in voting no on Amendment 3. And the only way that we defeat this is if you are a personal evangelist for this mission. You have to tell your neighbors. You have to tell your friends. They are outspending us almost 6-1. There are out-of-state interest groups that are pouring millions and millions of dollars to get this passed in Missouri. We have to be better than them at the ground game. Vote no on Amendment 3.